Commissioner
Okay, good.
House still celebrating the Electoral College? Is that it?
Pretty
It was over
much.
days ago.
Pretty much. Before we get the meeting going, I'd like to personally welcome Captain LeBlanc to our team and thank Captain Hodgson for his time on the license committee. Welcome, Captain LeBlanc.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, sir. All right, Brian, I have about 6 o'clock. What do you got?
Good enough for me.
All right,
Okay,
my
so
man.
we have the meeting minutes. We have our meeting minutes for December 3rd, 2020.
I made 3 comments, but aside from that, I move it approval.
Seconded.
Motion by Commissioner Krieger, seconded by Commissioner McCarthy. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next on the agenda, please.
Proceeding with the public hearing on the application by Monoram Restaurant LLC. Nala is the LLC manager for an all alcoholic beverages restaurant license for premises at 1671 Middlesex Street. It's the first floor, one room of 3,900 square feet for a dining room, kitchen area, and storage room. One entrance, 2 exits. It is requested that Fala ID be approved as the manager of record for San Monoram Restaurant LLC. And then also San Monoram has filed for applications for the following licenses: Common Vittler Entertainment and a licensed restaurant for live music, disc jockey and jukebox, and automatic amusement device. And this is a public hearing, and abutters were required to be notified by the applicant. In addition to, there is a temple within 500 feet of the 1671 location.
Do we have counsel for this client, or is she representing themselves?
Good evening.
Well, this is a familiar.
It's nice to be before you all.
Wow. What's going on, Adam? How you been, buddy?
Good. How have you been?
How's the new job?
It's good. It's good. It's
Good. Good for you.
I'm glad it's brought me back before you all.
Good opening line, Adam. Way to go. The floor is yours, Counselor.
Thank you, sir. So yes, I am here on behalf of Fala IV and San Monoram Restaurant LLC. Miss IV is here with me. That's why we are asked, of course. Yes, this is an application for a new Section 12 on-premises all alcoholic beverages restaurant license. And also the common victual license and the live entertainment license. We did submit the application for the automatic amusement device, but there actually aren't any in the establishment, so we can actually withdraw that one. There is a bit of history to this application that I can sort of go through. Basically, this restaurant has operated as San Monoram Restaurant since 2004. It was originally owned by a gentleman named Nisei Liek under the business name Monoram Inc. And Fala has worked there since the beginning. She's been there since 2004. She's worked as the general manager of the restaurant. And beginning in the last year or so, Fala began the process to actually purchase the establishment outright from Nisei Liek. And the original intent had been that we would go for you on application to transfer the license from Monoram Inc., which was the holder of the license, to Fala and her new LLC, San Monoram Restaurant LLC. But it became somewhat complicated because Monoram Inc. They were not fully in compliance with DOR and DUA. We weren't able to get certificates for them, and the corporate entity had actually been dissolved. And also complicating the matter was at this point, Nisei Liek became very ill. So really, he was the individual who would have the authority to sort of right those wrongs, to sort of get us where we need to be to seek the license transfer. So eventually the decision kind of became, well, instead of applying for the transfer, we'll just apply for a new license. This was around June of this year. So mid-pandemic, the restaurant wasn't operating at the time. I believe the board wasn't meeting at the time. So ultimately, what was discussed amongst Attorney Nicosia and Ryan was that Follow would basically just operate the business as is, unchanged, under the current license. Let that the license held by Monorom, let that license expire at the close of this year, and then apply for a new license. So that's really what we're doing now that we're at the end of the year. I believe our application is complete. We provided all of the corporate documentation for Sen Monorom LLC, the new LLC that Fala started, financial records for the new LLC for the last 3 months, a copy of the new lease that was entered between Fala and the property owner. We provided the DUA certificates and the DOR certificates of good standing. And Fala has been at the restaurant for 15 years. She knows it well. She's managed it. There's been no disciplinary issues or violations with the restaurant. She understands the rules and regulations of both the ABCC and the city. And she also understands the current restrictions as a result of the pandemic. Primarily operating now as takeout with some inside dining, as long as that's continues to be allowed. Normally she has about 20 seats. She's cut back to 12 to allow for adequate spacing. And that's really sort of the history of things. So if there's any questions, we're happy to answer any questions.
Commissioner Donahue, Krieger, McCarthy.
No questions.
No questions, John.
So Adam, it seems to me was just cleaner to just start anew, basically, right?
Yeah, I mean, really, just the fact that we didn't really have access to Nisei once he became ill. He was really the only one that could sort of right the wrongs of his business entity, so that everything could be transferred over. So really, what we're looking to do now, her new entity is set up, is in good standing, ready to go. Just looking to get the license in her name for 2021.
Yeah, nice and clean. Ryan, everything good on your end?
Okay, so it is good, and as Adam has just pointed out, the application in and of itself is fine. There's not an issue there. My concern is presumably the commission may take favorable action on this application, but you still have to go through the public hearing process.
Yep.
So from my end of things, if I may, this would require Alcohol Beverages Control Commission approval for a new license.
Yep.
99.9% of the time, I would do the due diligence, package the application and pertinent documents that the ABC require, and mail it out within 3 days of the action of the License Commission approving the application. My situation presently is that I am working in a remote location. I do not have hands-on to that application. I have forwarded to the commission, and I have access to what I had forwarded to the commission, which is the Adobe PDF document version of that application. And as Commissioner Howe had rightfully pointed out in the past, transmission of email with sensitive records is a security risk. I cannot email this application in its original format. I don't have access to that original application in its original format. It's on my desk in the City Hall law office. So,
are there still employees working at City Hall though, or are you completely shut down over there?
Yes, there is. Well, presently the law office has the city solicitor and the assistant city solicitor, the first assistant city solicitor, as well as the litigation assistant, Celine, and the workers' compensation agent. Plus, there are several other individuals as well that I need to name that are presently working on a kind of like a 2 days on, 2 days off type format.
So can you
Problem
get in,
is, if I
can you
may,
get into your office?
no, I cannot. I'm not allowed to go into the city hall, or am I allowed to enter the law office? I am considered a remote. My status is remote.
All right,
so-
I'm gonna talk to you offline on this, all right? And so you can get access from your office, all right? I'll make
So
calls to make
just
that happen.
to simplify it, if I may, just to say that what I would need to do to complete this package would take me less than an hour.
Yep, I get it. I
if I
understand where
may
you're coming
say
from.
that.
Let me try to facilitate something here with Ryan so you can get into your office and do what needs to be done correctly, so we can move ahead with this process.
So,
All
Mr.
right?
Chair,
Yes, Commissioner McCarthy.
I'll make a motion that we approve this.
Oh,
How do you want to,
Meeting.
What, Brian?
you want to open it up to comment?
Yeah, we're gonna do that first, public hearing, because I always forget to do this. All right, at this time, I'd like to open up the public hearing. Anybody like to speak in favor? In favor? In favor? Hearing no one, that portion of the public hearing is closed. Anybody like to speak in opposition? 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 Hearing no one, that portion of the public hearing is closed. Motion on the floor by Commissioner McCarthy, seconded by Commissioner Donahue to approve. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay. Ryan, I will talk to you offline concerning your situation. All right?
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Donahue.
I was just gonna ask you, want anything supporting you in your discussions about Ryan at this time, or leave it for later?
Yeah, let's leave it for later.
Okay.
At this point, I appreciate that. Thank you. Council LaGrassa, you're all set.
Great. Thank you very much. It was nice seeing you all.
Good luck.
Happy
Good to see
holidays to you.
All right.
Thank you. Be well.
Okay, proceeding with our second item on the agenda, we have a request to amend the application by the corporation known as Panella Restaurant Corporation, 525 Market Street, for transfer of the license from the Sporting and Athletic Club of Lowell, and for change of license type from an all-alcoholic beverages club to all-alcoholic beverages restaurant. And I think Attorney Curtis is with us.
Good evening, members of the board. Greg Curtis on Panella Restaurant.
Happy holidays, Council.
Holidays, everybody stay safe.
Floor is yours, sir.
We, at the last meeting, it was voted to approve. Ryan sent everything into the ABCC. We got a recommendation back on a disapproval because they had a problem with the number of shareholders listed was not coinciding with the number of directors of Panella Restaurant. So we have gone forward and taken care of that. Juan Acevedo, who filed originally the documents with the Secretary of State, when he filled it out, he put down 1 as the number of shares issued, when normally you would, number of authorized shares would be 200,000, and then you would issue 1 share to each director. So we corrected that. We went online and we corrected the number of directors to 2, the number of shares outstanding to 2. We also included for the board, and I dropped all this off at City Hall last week. I know Ryan wasn't in, he was only in sporadically. A unanimous consent of the shareholders and board of directors to show that Juan Acevedo is also a director. He's also president and treasurer, along with his sister, who is the vice president and a director, and also a affidavit indicating basically that, as we indicated the last time, that this is a transfer of license type from private club to retail restaurant. And that's basically
Non-profit to profit.
nonprofit to profit. And, we're basically shutting down the SAC Club completely. It's going to be no more after, hopefully, this goes through. And we also did a bill of sale, showing a bill of sale and an affidavit for the ABC. If they have further questions, I'm sure they can talk directly to Mr. Acevedo, but I just wanted to clear up the record. So I hand-delivered all this on December 10th to the Licensing Commission. I hope, Ryan, I hope you were able to get a hold of it and pass it on to the board members.
Yes, I have. It's done.
Okay.
Okay. Um, everything all set on the application, DOI, everything good, Ryan?
Yeah, so again, this would be a submittal to the ABC for reconsideration. That's the format they require of a licensing authority when they redo or try to amend the approval application. And so it's just a matter of just packaging it and mailing it out.
That'll
to
be
the
fine.
ABC,
All right,
So it should be
questions from
good.
the,
as it
questions
is.
from the commissioner.
No questions.
No questions.
We have a motion on the floor, please.
Move approval.
Moved by Commissioner Donahue, seconded by Commissioner McCarthy. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, motion carries. Attorney Curtis, happy holidays to you, and
Very much.
tell
Happy holidays
Mr.
to everybody.
Acevedo that we wish him well in his venture.
I will. Thank you very much.
All right.
Okay, proceeding with our next item, and the last item on our meeting agenda is the review of a communication from the attorney Colleen Gary regarding a matter to do, two matters regarding the used car dealer licensee at 1418 Middlesex Street. The individual's name is Abdi Ardahali, doing business as Carman Auto Sales. I believe Attorney Gary might be with us.
I am. If you can hear me.
State
I am.
Representative Gary, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Attorney
Thanks for
Gary.
having me tonight. Good to see you,
you.
gentlemen.
How are
Good to
you?
see you. Good, thank you.
The floor is yours, ma'am.
Thank you. You know, it has been very, very difficult with these two cases that I've picked up. Both women who purchased vehicles, used vehicles from Mr. Abdahali, doing business as Carmen, and finding out that there are even more complaints out there. To carry a license to do used cars, obviously, you know, because you are the board that approved them, that they have to provide a bond and they have to deal with people in good faith and follow all of the merchantability and all of the regulations. What we found from these two cases, and I've come in after, but the first one, woman went through arbitration with the state. They found for her for $12,443. He still refuses to take back the vehicle. The second case, they ended up going through small claims. Again, the consumer, this second consumer, won and found for her for $6,300 plus change and interest. Now, that judgment came in December of 2019, and he still has not taken back the car. He's told her that if she drops it off, it'll be seen as abandoned. Frankly, both of my clients have said to me that he is very disrespectful, that he is abusive verbally, and claiming that they're bullying him and trying to exploit him and all of this. So even with a $25,000 bond, it doesn't carry these two cases. Even, you know, if we have to go back on a 93A. And I'm sure Counselor Donahue would know if he was working full time at the Lowell District Court again, that unfortunately a lot of these cases are being held up. Now, you know, my second client hasn't had a vehicle that she can drive for over a year. It was actually failed the inspection within the first 3 days, and under the law says that she can have it, she can void the contract, and he will not do it. He's actually appealed that. So she has had to insure it, she's had to register it, and now we're going to have to go back on a 93A claim again, in which case I believe that we'd get triple damages, would bring her up to over $21,000. The first case we got 12, and we have to go to district court for that to get that done. Again, that could come up to $36,000 plus attorney's fees. So the bond that you have right now is not going to cover just these two cases. And investigating the Attorney General's complaint database, there's at least 10 more since 2016. And out of those 10, there are 6 who are Lowell residents who have complained about what's going on at Carmen. Mr. Carmen is doing business as a DBA, and he rents the property. So these people could be right out of luck. If he files bankruptcy, there's nothing they can attach. So he should be made, in our opinion, he should be made to prove that he is doing business in a good process in the city of Lowell, or not have his license renewed. We ask that you delay renewing his license January 1st, and that you bring him in and make sure that he explains what he's doing with these cases. As far as I can find out, he's a New Hampshire resident. The DBA is Abdi Ardahali doing business. If you look at the paperwork that is enclosed in the packet, there is a Ray Abdahali who asserts that he's a part owner. I don't believe that he's on the license. So there are real questions about the practices of this business, and I think that he should prove to you, the board, that he is of a high standing to actually run this business in the city of Lowell.
Attorney Gary, where are you in the court process again? I guess.
So we are just going to be filing now. Again, yeah, the 93A on both of these cases, and you know, the courts have been hit with the COVID just as badly as City Hall. So I've had reviews of payment reviews that were due in last June, and they've been put off indefinitely. So these poor women, the first one works at Lowell General Hospital. She's a single mom. She's taking care of her elderly father. She won't put him in the car because the car is not safe. She's afraid it's going to stall out in the middle of traffic. And the other one has to keep borrowing a car. For over a year now, she's had to borrow a car, and she's still paying for the car to be registered and to be licensed and to be insured.
Can this commission ask you for a favor?
Sure.
Could you provide the other, you said there were close to 10 other complaints with that? If that could be emailed to Secretary Wynn for our discussion.
Absolutely.
Brian, we don't have city council on this meeting, do we, at this point? Nobody's here, right? Brian?
I mean, license commissions, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Can you hear me?
what are you in Afghanistan? Where are you? You're in the basement? Where are you, Ryan?
I'm in a remote location.
Remote location
I'm
unknown.
in my home, in
All
my
right.
kitchen.
All right. We don't have city council here with us, do we?
So I don't
No,
believe
no.
so.
No attorney, no attorney.
I don't think there is any
attorney.
counselor.
All right. I'm not sure.
I mean, you're talking about the city solicitor.
Yeah, do we have one? Is anybody here? No, I didn't see anybody on the Zoom to bring in.
No, we don't. Not.
Okay,
no.
that's fine. My only question is, I don't think that we can hold off issuing a
My
license.
Wi-Fi is not the greatest here.
All right, can you hear me all right? Ryan, can you hear me?
I can hear you now. It's Wi-Fi is in and out. Yes, I can hear you.
All right,
Hear me?
I want you to get your coat on, and I want you to go outside, okay? And then we'll continue the meeting. How's that? He's still frozen. All right, Ryan. What I'd like to do is, I know
Can you hear me?
I can. So I understand what Attorney Gary is asking us to hold the license, but from a legal perspective, I'm not asking her for her legal advice, but I think at this point that if he has already put in for his license renewal, I think we should grant him that license, but bring him in here for our next meeting, which is probably the middle of first or second week of January, correct?
Mr. Chairman, can you hear me?
Yep. I can, go
John?
ahead.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So here's the situation with the used car dealers generally. I have not mailed out the renewal applications. I would normally have done it by now, but my condition, as I noted before in the first meeting agenda, I'm at a remote location. Those applications, which would be probably a number of 60, I typically will mail to the business owners first or second week in December. Circumstances being what they are presently, now that I'm in a remote location, I've not been able to actual mailing. I wouldn't expect anyone to do so my behalf, in my absence. And the other issue that I'm dealing with is hindsight being 2020. I do not have the business owner's email addresses. People that would be anticipating receiving a renewal application in mail can't expect it now because I haven't mailed them out, of course.
So
Matter with-
I'm
to
not,
do
I'm
with
not gonna,
comment on.
yeah, I understand where you're going, Ryan. I'm not gonna belabor the point. Um, uh, I'd like you to give me a phone call at the end of this meeting. All right? And
Okay,
because if you're, as a secretary of this license commission, is unable to fulfill your job responsibilities, I'm sure the other commission as well as I have a problem with that. So we need to rectify that somehow and make sure that everything is, I mean, this is probably the busiest of the year is making sure that you get all these licenses and renewals ready to go. If we can't do that, that's an issue. And I'll take responsibility for that
Support
and
you, Mr.
make the
Chairman.
calls
We
that
do
need to be
support
made.
you.
Thank you, Commissioner McCarthy. I appreciate that. But Brian, if you can still hear me, I think and I'll let the other commissioners chime in, but I think we go forth with the issuing the license, because we will not be able to meet obviously before January 1st. And then bring in Mr. Alasadi at our next meeting and discuss what is going on at his establishment and take appropriate action if necessary. Other commissioners want to,
If I
Go-
might,
go ahead, Joe.
I'd like to have the owner notified of a hearing on possible revocation of his license based on complaints. He should be notified, he should be advised that he ought to get counsel and set it up for a hearing as soon as possible. I think these are two egregious examples of what you hear about, trouble with used cars.
Yeah, I understand there could be one or two, and what Attorney Gary said, but
Yep.
if there's another 10 to 12 that she says that are out there that have not been rectified, I have an issue with that.
Absolutely.
Mr. Chairman, just to clarify, that was off the database. We don't have the actual names, but it has the dates and the towns that they're from. I will try to get more information from the Attorney General's office on the individual cases, but it does have their residence, town, and the date of the complaint in the database.
Much appreciated. Thank you. Commissioner McCarthy, Commissioner Krieger, any further comment?
No, I'm all set with that. Thank you.
All right, Commissioner Krieger.
Yeah, I think this is pretty egregious and needs to be dealt with.
All right, Ryan. So let's send Mr. Alzadi a letter stating that we would like him on our next Zoom meeting and the first meeting of the new year.
Are we still going to issue a license?
I believe at this point, I don't know if we can act any differently, Commissioner McCarthy. I mean, at this point, he's done nothing wrong until we meet
so the
with him.
first thing I would need to do, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, is to send him the renewal application. That's the first step. If he files the renewal, then ordinarily I would issue that license. Circumstances being as they are, as you pointed out many times this meeting, is that just a question of when I could issue that license to him. So January 1st, 2021, that's his last day license.
I understand. I understand.
Bring out that license.
I don't think this board has,
So that's-
until we hear from Mr. Alasadi, I don't think this board is in a position to deny a license until we hear from him. So let's get the application, let him pay for his license, and then we'll sit and chat.
John, Mr. Chairman,
Yeah, go ahead, Cliff.
I wonder if we can, or it'd be beneficial if we gave a blanket approval for all of the licenses on record with the paperwork to follow, rather than let this thing fall off the cliff at the end of the month.
Ryan, since where are you at with renewals to this point. Do you feel confident that you'll be able to renew all the licenses come January 1st in present working condition?
So, no, not in the consideration in terms of the process that I'm accustomed to issuing licenses, where I print out a hard copy of that document to either be mailed to the business address, or someone is coming in to pick up that license. And ordinarily, in the issuance of licenses requires the payment of a license fee. So those circumstances that are constantly, I'm just focusing on the alcohol licensees. In circumstances of their getting their certificates of inspection, is paying only seen certificates of inspection today.
All right, Ryan.
Um,
I'm not sure if anybody else is hearing him, but I'm not hearing a
No,
word.
no, not John.
All right.
Chairman, can I-
Ryan, what I want you to do is call me at the end of this meeting. You have my cell phone. All right, and we'll talk after. Attorney Gary, do you have anything further you'd like to end on?
No, thank you very much. And to all of you, Merry Christmas. May you all stay safe and healthy and your families.
Thank
You as
you.
well.
Thank you. Merry Christmas, Colleen. Good to
Merry-
see
Good to see you too. Thanks.
Bye, Colleen.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Cole.
Bye.
I'd like to move that
Can you
we,
hear me now, John? Can you hear me now, John? John, can you hear me?
Yes,
I can.
Okay,
Right.
basically, I just gave the renewal of licenses is built up.
I understand. All right. Once again, I'd rather not discuss this at this point. I think I'll speak with you offline. I think
Okay.
that's the best way to
Very
go.
you.
Unless the commissioners think otherwise.
That's fine. Fine.
no
But
problem.
I think the commission deserves access to paperwork.
I fully agree. Is there any other items on the agenda, Ryan?
No,
No, that's all. That's it.
Mr. Chairman, do we need to cover any possible gaps, since this is our last formal meeting, our last meeting for the year, by saying that the commission agrees to extend licenses in lieu of paperwork until the paperwork can be accomplished?
I think I would like to hear from city's legal counsel, Cliff. I don't know if that is something that we can do as a commission, and where there's not a valid license. So I think after I speak with Ryan, I'll speak with somebody else at City Hall. I know where you're going with this. It's kind of, it's going to be a week late, 2 weeks late, that type of thing before it's issued. But I'm not sure from a legal standpoint we can do that.
Well, maybe we should plan on getting together for 15 minutes next Wednesday. Wednesday's better than Thursday, I think.
I think, I know legal counsel isn't on here, but I think this would absolutely be something that we could go into executive session about.
Yeah.
Let me do that.
Have Ryan publish a meeting now, so that we're legal on having announced the meeting.
Ryan, did you get that? That we would like to set up a executive session due to the fact that concerning the city's
Licensing.
where we are with license
Difficulties.
renewals at this point, and get a legal opinion for the betterment of the city or not. So I think something we can do in executive session.
Okay, next Wednesday at 6 o'clock?
You guys want to do it earlier? I'm available all the day.
Anytime you want. Just not at 7 o'clock.
You're the chairman.
Yes, Mr. McCarthy.
You on vacation, by the way, now?
I'm sorry.
Are you on vacation from work now?
I just got off quarantine. I'm going back to work tomorrow.
Oh, great. Great to have you back.
I appreciate that. And thanks for all the well wishes. I appreciate that from everybody.
Move adjourned.
Wednesday, how's Wednesday at 10 o'clock in the morning?
Fine.
10 o'clock in the morning.
That's in the
No,
middle of my
me.
night. Not
He's
making-
still in bed, McCarthy.
I knew, no,
I
that's,
know Commissioner McCarthy's he's at the gym for 4 hours every morning. So I understand that.
that's fine.
Yeah, okay.
10 o'clock next Wednesday. I'll give Martha a ring too.
Okay.
Seems like it should be a good time.
Captain, good to see you. I think you were a patrolman the last time I saw you.
Quite possibly. Yeah, quite possibly.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. Great to see everybody.
Welcome aboard. We appreciate it.
Move adjourned.
Move
Great
for
to be-
adjourned by Commissioner Krieger, seconded by Commissioner Donahue. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion.
Have a good
Motion to
Christmas. all.
adjourn.
We'll see you before Christmas.
You
Take
went,
care. Wednesday, 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock. We'll talk. All right, Ryan, give me a call.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, thank you. I will.
Happy
night.
holidays, everybody.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays to the public. Bye-bye.